You remember liking a movie. You remember back when it came out, you saw it when you were younger and thought, this is cool. And then years later, you rewatch it and you think, what the fuck? Hello, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I'm here to talk about and review Lara Croft Tomb Raider. This is a 2001 film that was directed by Simon West. It is based on the Tomb Raider video games from the 90s that I know I played and I enjoyed. So this film, we meet Angelina Jolie, who plays Lara Croft. She's this rich British woman who her father had some secrets, and he left some clues for her to figure out, to find this key that's gonna open up to this other treasure at some tropical area. She's supposed to go there to stop other bad people from getting to it. And along the way, it's craziness and chaos and blah, 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 blah. Tomb Raider, look, I don't hate this movie right now. It's one of those movies where I watched it when it first came out and I had to have been, 12? And then I would watch it as a teenager and think, this is cool. This is cool. Because Angelina Jolie looks, at least to me, looks like Lara Croft, the 90s Lara Croft that I played on my PlayStation 1. And like, she looked the part. I guess at the time I was reading about this, I was looking it up, that people were pissed that Angelina Jolie was cast, and that surprised me until I started to see them say, well, her lifestyle decisions at the time, she was very eccentric, she was very weird. Not saying she's not anymore, but at this time she was doing a lot of weird stuff with her brother and her boyfriends, husbands, with the blood, and just a lot of weird stuff. So in retrospect, I guess I could understand some apprehension from fans. Angelina Jolie, I think, looks great as the character. She looks the part. I will say that the movie doesn't do a whole lot of characterization of Lara Croft as far as really getting to know her. It's very basic. It's very just by the book, like, hey, she's a badass. She's a badass and she has a connection to her father and she wants to fulfill his duty, or his last thing that he wants her to do. The fact that she's rich is not really a huge deal. The fact that she has a butler isn't that big of a deal either. It's not like Alfred and Batman. They don't have that close of a relationship. She also has like a tech guy who is played by Noah Taylor, and he's just a guy who fixes up robots for her to fight, to I guess train, and that's fine. But I was also thinking while watching it, does she really need a tech guy? She doesn't use tech. She doesn't have any wacky gadgets. She's not James Bond. She just uses knives and very basic, simple stuff when she goes on an adventure. So that was interesting. So like I said, though, she finds this clock, and inside the clock there is a key that's supposed to lead her to this one specific area. And that part of the movie I do like, that part of the story I do like. I actually love that her father is played by Jon Voight, who is Angelina Jolie's real life father. So I love that. That's one of those things where you don't see that a lot. And so they obviously naturally have chemistry. Like, they have one really good scene together where they're able to talk to each other, and you buy that emotional moment. Other than that, though, there's not a whole lot of emotional moments, not a lot of depth to the characters. But it's a video game movie. What do you expect? You just expect action. And sure, the movie does have decent action. I guess rewatching it, like I said, because there was a time where I would have said this was cool, but rewatching it, I felt really nothing with the action. It felt hollow. It felt like there wasn't much there. The moments when they use CGI, because look, there are a lot of stunts. There are a lot of Angelina Jolie doing some of the stunts herself and seeing her hang off of stuff and seeing her hang off of contraptions and caves. And I'm like, that's cool, because that's Lara Croft. That's Tomb Raider. That's, like, at least they tried in that sense. But there's scenes where she's fighting statues that come to life. And these statues are CGI, of course, and it just doesn't look good. It's 2001, so what do you expect? I just wish they could have somehow worked around that. CGI was not ready to do some of the stuff that this movie asked them to do, and those scenes with the CGI especially look really bad. It does. It takes me out of it. There's another scene where she's fighting one of the robots that's supposed to be like a training thing, and the robot looks really CGI and looks bad and just looks video gamey, which I'm sure wasn't on purpose. The other cast, the main bad guy, is Ian Glenn, who plays Manfred Powell. I like this actor. I do. I like seeing him play a villain. He's good at playing a villain. Obviously, he's been on stuff like Game of Thrones now. And another character, though, who's sort of just here is this guy, Alex West, played by Daniel Craig. And Daniel Craig, this is before he was James Bond. This is before he was really that big or that much of a name. He's fine in the movie. My whole thing, though, is that he's trying to do an American accent. He's playing like an American character, and he's not in real life. And he's okay, but there are words and phrases that he says that just sound very forced. Like, you can tell he sounds like a guy who's trying to do an American accent. You could hear his British accent seeping in here and there. And just him as a character, he has a past with Lara Croft. He seems to have feelings for her, but then he ends up with the villain, but then you find out that he was double-crossing him too. And just, it's so back and forth that you ultimately don't know how to feel about him. Is he a true love for Lara Croft? Because you don't even see them together again after a certain point. If I'm going to talk about accents, I should talk about Angelina Jolie's accent. She does do a British accent, and she's not British, and it's not terrible. I will say this. She's very subtle about it. And in some ways, it just sounds like she's just saying British phrases like bloody hell or bugger. I lost count on how many times a character said bugger. I think Angelina Jolie is fun to watch. I think that the movie does try to go for a fun tone, a fun atmosphere. And sometimes it works and sometimes it just comes off, especially now, as cheesy and corny. It's not terrible. Look, I'm not saying that this movie sucks. I'm not saying it's the worst movie ever. But it does fall in line with how people say that video game-based movies are not that good. They're definitely not great, and this is not one of those. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the 2001 version? Do you like it? Do you love it? What did you think of Angelina Jolie as the character? Did you grow up with the games? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!